Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're talking about a recent Washington Post article in which the title says it all. Listen to the title, Jacob, of this article. Political polarization is sorting colleges into red and blue schools. Right there. Video over. I mean,
that was a fast one, dude.
It says a lot right there in the title.
Yeah, it does.
So what this writer details is the fact that schools in Florida, for example, continue to measure academics or measure high school students through and college applications through the traditional way, SAT scores, ACT scores, while schools in California are slowly doing away with those scores and those measures. They're emphasizing more in diversity. So you could see the shift and why perhaps certain students will continue to maybe apply to schools in Florida versus schools from California. I know those are two states, but you're going to see other issues that have come out that kind of are polarizing. For example, another one, the article mentions that students, perhaps from blue states, are avoiding red states altogether because of some of the recent laws that have gone into effect regarding abortion. So you see students just banning states altogether, let alone colleges. There are other things such as that are causing the polarization of schools besides those things, including, and here's a big one, the teaching of DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. This has become a very important focus for many colleges as well as high schools. We've touched on it on our channel, but these type of teaching policies have alienated many red states and many students in red states. And now there are measures in Iowa, Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio, and Florida that seeks to ban DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, from the classroom. Jacob, what are your thoughts?
Well, I've been watching the news and reading the news, different articles over the last couple of years, and I just see this division happening, not just of course, in our politics and in our country, but at the college level. We had an episode not too long ago, Ruben, where we talked about where a lot of employers now are not looking at college education. I think this might be part of it. They're like saying, hey, if you have some skills, right? If you're able to show that you know this type of programming, we're going to hire you. So I think it's giving a bad taste to a lot of people around the country. We're seeing this division, right? In this article, Ruben, it talks about academic freedom, right? A lot of these professors feel like they don't have this academic freedom where they could say, hey, they could say whatever they want to say in the classroom, as long as, they could back it up, of course. And they feel like, hey, we have tenure, we should be able to speak, or, how we feel and what we know about this topic. If it has to do with gender, if it has to do with race. And so states like Florida, as you know, Ruben, DeSantis is saying, hey, wait a minute. We're putting some limits on that, right? And so that's why we see all these people upset and say, wait a minute, if we don't feel comfortable in Florida, we're going to go over to California, as an example. I don't know. I don't think it's good. I hate seeing a lot of this division, Ruben. I feel like, I have a son in college. I really just want him to learn. He's taking psychology classes. I want him to learn about the great psychologists in history. I want him to learn about the different methods and different just theories on it. I don't want him to, get all caught up in the political piece. And so thinking about my own kid, I really feel like I wish a lot of this was just not part of their curriculum, but dealing with all this, because I know one of the issues was like in California, they're allowing, and other states are going to do it as well, allowing like the morning after pill, I guess, to be distributed, right? And so, I mean, that's just an example.
In the colleges.
In the colleges, you're right, in the colleges. Yeah.
Uh,
So I think that's, no, it just seems like too much. But yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like it's just too much of this too political. I just feel like that's not why I'm sending my kid to college, is to get all wrapped up in all that. So I want him to get his 4 years, learn about his topic, and then hopefully get a job.
well, but is that realistic? I mean, doesn't he go to a Cal State school?
He does. He does.
You don't really think that you're not going to get professors from you signed up for it, right?
Right. I mean, I went to a Cal State school, so yeah, I know, and I'm sure it's a lot more even intense now. But
So
you do sign up for
you're
it.
giving the rubber stamp in a way by paying that money.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
You know what it is, Ruben?
somebody who's watching this video would be completely confused
Yeah.
by what you're, because we're talking, because it sounds like you're a certain political persuasion,
Sure.
maybe, or at least you don't want your student, your child, to hear or be, this idea of indoctrination from the other side.
Right.
Then you're sending your child to that school.
I don't, but you know what? It's so, I think when it comes down to it, though, Ruben, now when I was listening to you share that, I thought, you know what? I've definitely had an influence on my son, I'm sure, and some of his ideology and his thoughts. And I believe that he's going to come up with his own thoughts about politics and so forth. And you know what? In the end, I do trust him, and I do believe that he's going to be okay. He's going to be fine. I do feel like it's because this whole article is dealing with all these people not wanting to go to Florida, and why not? There's some good schools in Florida. Go to Florida. You might not agree with some other the professors there, but it's okay. Like I didn't agree with a lot of my professors, but it was good for me to think about it, to be able to have some critical, ideas and thoughts, and be able to explain it. And so my son comes home and he gives me his thoughts. I go, oh, okay, he sees what's going on, and he's able to communicate how he feels about it. So maybe that's where it lies, Ruben. It lies with the parents, that they feel like, you know what, I trust my kid to go there. And if you don't, maybe don't pay for it, right? So yeah.
The article also points out that not all professors or academic administrators from California want to do away with test scores. They still look at them. It points out in the article, they will still look at your SATs, and they will determine, but they're not so much requiring. Their emphasis is on this diversity. And I agree with you that this article also points out that engineering students still need to get the answer right.
Right.
Medical doctors still, they can't be graded purely for their ideas of inclusion. There has to be there's some science here.
Sure.
Well, even science is up to debate these days, but the idea that there's more, you can't just go by that parameter strictly. Even California is still doing it. But I agree with you that I don't want to live in the country that's just blue versus red.
Yeah.
People I'm pretty tired of this debate back and forth. It's a shame that continues. But in a way, I think that it is healthy to debate. So I'm always looking for, how do we bring the sides together?
Yeah.
How about this? Because there's this fear, this anger against critical race theory that is brought up in the article, DEI. How about both sides win by, the university should probably hire more conservative professors, let's face it.
Yeah.
It's pretty one-sided. I don't know. People might
say 90% to 10%. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get any when I went to college. Even me went to college a million years ago. I didn't get one professor who said they were. Almost all my professors were pretty left. I went to Long Beach State anyway. And
can I just say one more thing?
Real quickly. But the other side, give the other side a bone. By saying we're going to keep teaching diversity, equity, and inclusion, but you present your side. Yes. We're going to hire people, and let's debate it.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, just on one of the areas regarding the testing, I was just kind of curious when I read this article about how you felt regarding ACT and SAT scores. I feel like one of the issues is like, oh, well, some of these kids, they don't have the background like some of these wealthy kids. And that's why we're taking away these test scores, looking at them. I'm like, where does it end? And do you feel the same way about that? I mean, about the test scores, that, I mean, what's so wrong about looking at those scores?
I feel mixed, to be honest with you.
Do you?
It is a good point that people. So basically, the argument with doing away test scores or not looking at them focused on them as much is because wealthy kids can pay for that, can pay for tutoring, more support. There is some truth to that. I mean, I mean, we see it. You work in
Sure.
a unserved area. I did for years.
But is it ever going to be perfect?
On the other hand, I fear I don't want to fall into that soft bigotry of low expectations, where we say, okay, let's do away with test scores because, it's very racist in a way if you think about it. These poor Latino kids, poor kids, they can't do it. The Black kids, they can't meet those standards. I feel that's a bit racist. You can start to go a little bit racist if you fall into that too much. So I'm a little mixed. I don't know. It's a good point that they made in the article, that a lot of it predominantly it falls into Latino and Blacks where they're not getting the support. I don't know. It is a meaningful point. So, any last words on this topic?
No, I just think that sadly, I think maybe in a year from now, we're probably going to still be talking about this, because it just seems like the division is just getting deeper, and especially by next year, we'll be talking about election coming up. So yeah, we'll talk some more about this, I'm sure, Ruben.
Very good, everybody. Tell us what you think, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.